Hey, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson, I'm going to show you an easy strumming version of Just the Two of Us. And this song uses 5 basic shapes, making the same chord progression over and over again. So it's a great song, not necessarily a beginner tune, because there are some quick switches, but definitely something to help you get a command of your chord switching. The strumming pattern has some muting in it, which is really neat. It really helps with the groove. So it's a little bit more than a regular strumming pattern. So this is a really fun song. And as far as the B section, the bridge, I've found a way to take all those crazy key changes and use a single shape to get through all of it. So all in all, a pretty simple version that sounds pretty decent. This is the simplest way to play it while still sounding really close to the recording, which doesn't actually have an acoustic guitar on it at all. If along the way you find that you need any extra help, I have my free ebook that's completely free for all my subscribers and goes over all the basics of acoustic guitar, developing your strumming, your chord switching, and all that. I'll put a link in the corner if you haven't gotten your copy yet. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to learn more guitar with me. Let's get started with the chord shapes. First, we have C. And from there, we go into a B7 chord. And I'm just going to lift my ring finger, put my middle finger right up there to the second fret of the A string, and then finish my B7 chord from there. I find that's the best way to switch from C to B7. And you can just try it a whole bunch. I know it's not the most common switch, but it's in a bunch of really cool tunes. Then we have E minor. And for this one, the switch is easy. We just leave down our middle and our ring finger, put our ring finger up to the second fret of the D string. Then we go D minor into G. And if you play D minor like this with your ring finger on the 3rd fret, you can just pivot off of that into your G chord. And those are all the shapes that we need for now. So let's try them with downstrokes only, just so we can get used to the chord order and the chord switching. Starting off on C, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, B7, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the one thing that you might want to work on is going from D minor to G, playing them for 2 beats each. It's a quicker switch going 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyways, once you're good with that, we can add a strumming pattern. It goes like this. I'll do it slowly. 3 and 4 and. So there's not too much there. The real focus is on how we feel the beat. Breaking down our strumming pattern, we start off with a downstroke on beat 1, and then we're going to go up, down in the air. We're missing the strings, and then an up on the and of 2. And to practice that, we can go 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So do it just like that, counting the 3, 4 out loud, saying the same things I'm saying, making the same movements as slow as you need to go to get the coordination or the mechanics down. And then the one thing that we have to add to that is we're going to mute the strings on beat 3. So 1 and 2 and mute, 4. 1 and 2 and mute, 4. And we mute it just by touching our palm to the strings. You can, go harder or go softer depending on what part of the song you're at. Like earlier in the tune, it's a bit more gentle. Whereas later you might go like during like the final chorus or the more intense parts of the song. You can use your musical judgment for that one. Anyways, that's the pattern. I want you to try it just like that, going 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Comfortably accurately, slowly, and then speed it up as you get a bit more comfortable with it, till you can do it at a decent pace, and then we'll add that to our chord progression. Now, for the D minor and G chords, we're still strumming them once, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. But for everything else, we add the pattern. You can always just watch, see what's going on, and then try it with me afterwards. Here we go. Metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. What we've learned so far makes up the majority of the tune. We would play that on the intro, verse, and chorus. The only other part is the bridge. And normally this part's pretty crazy. Like, this is where the chords are changing and we're changing keys a whole bunch of times. But I figured out a little trick that makes it so easy. It relies on this shape right here, which you might recognize as the easy F chord. And I have a whole lesson on this shape if you'd like extra help with it. But basically, we skip the first string. Index finger goes on the first fret of the B string. Middle finger on the second fret of the next string. Pinky finger on the third fret of the D string. And then our ring finger just above it. And it's really important that our thumb is lightly touching the thickest string to mute it. That gives us the easy F chord. And we're going to take that shape and we're going to slide it up the fretboard until our first finger is on the 8th fret. Our thumb probably lines up with that fret too, but it's not very important if it does because it's just muting. So my index is on the 8th fret and I play. And then I go down 1 fret. And then I go down 1 fret again. And again. And again. Until my first finger is on the 3rd fret. And then from here, we go to a C chord, and we can just leave our first finger down and just slide it, because that's an easy way to get into the C chord. And we go down, up, down on an F chord. So the rhythm for that is similar to the chorus strumming pattern. 1 and 2 and, just like in the chorus, but instead of mute, we now switch to the F chord on beat 3, and then we play a downstroke on beat 4. So I would count that out going 1 and 2 and switch and 4. So we switch on beat 3. That way we can be really rhythmic with the whole thing. One more time. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and switch and 4. As far as adding the strumming to this part, it's pretty straightforward. We just do it one time per shape as we descend. I'll just do the whole thing so you can see it all, and then you can try it with me after. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's it. The song just has a verse, a chorus, which use the same chord progression, and then that bridge. Now, when it comes to putting the whole thing together, we start off with an intro, which is just like our verse. Then we have a verse, which is that chord progression 2 times, a chorus, another verse, another chorus, and then there's our bridge. And we would play the thing that we just practiced 2 times and follow that up with 1 measure of counting out 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just a measure of rest. And then there's an interlude, which is just like the intro, but half as long. So we only go through the progression once, a verse, and then we play our chorus 4 times through, So it's quite a lot, and it fades out on the 4th repeat. And I recommend writing this down and listening to the original recording to develop your sense of the entire song. It's a really important skill that if you use sheet music, it's great, to have access to printable copies of the music, but I feel like you tend to rely on it for knowing what's coming next, whereas it's really helpful to develop that sense inside, and this is the best way to do it, with like a skeleton of the tune. As far as learning how to play through the entire song, I also have a backing track on my Patreon page from start to finish through this entire tune with me playing on it as well. It's the same track that you heard at the beginning of this thing. It's just the full version of that. That's available on my Patreon page. I'll put a link down below for that. If you're not familiar, Patreon is a place where people can give a small monthly donation in exchange for a whole bunch of perks. It's a really great way to help support the channel. If you haven't gotten your copy of my free ebook, there's a link in the corner for that. Also, in the corner, you'll find a link to my complete beginner's guitar course, which does the same thing as my ebook. It goes over all the fundamentals, but it kind of holds your hand through the entire thing and takes you from absolute beginner to confident strummer, telling you what songs to learn and when and how to apply all the changes and techniques and everything. We work through everything at the, every little step of the way. So please check that out if you'd like. That's the best way to help support the channel. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more lessons like this, and have a fun time practicing. I'll see you soon.